I'm going to move to a different gatekeeper. A
Mm.
different gatekeeper would be like HBO Max now, Disney Plus,
Mm.
Netflix. For me, those are the real they're not social media, but they are media, the devices of media that I think are changing dramatically right now. Mostly because of the pandemic. I believe that the films themselves weren't doing as well as they wanted to in the theaters, but let's just go into it. 17 movies will arrive in theaters and on HBO Max simultaneously, the biggest challenge yet to Hollywood's traditional way of doing business. HBO Max subscribers will receive instant access to big budget extravaganzas like the Suicide Squad sequel, the Godzilla vs Kong, Dune, and Matrix 4. Which is interesting that they're willing to just say Matrix, which is a huge series for them, we're just going to allow it to go to streaming services at this point because we need to assure profits as quickly as possible. So that's another gatekeeper. Disney Plus, HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu. Hulu is owned by Disney now. You know,
Yeah.
that's something that we need to think about because as I know for me, it probably won't affect me as a worker, as an audio engineer, it probably won't do much. But I know for a fact that the actors will be paid less, writers will be paid less, etc.
Well, there's like a huge slew of lawsuits that are probably going to be coming forward because they said that Fox went and made this deal with HBO Max without consulting any of the any of the production. They didn't talk to them about it. They just went and they made this deal, and they're acting like it's supposed to be cool, and it's not because a lot of these actors have in their contracts that if they make a certain amount of money at the box office, it also will affect how much money they make from this movie. So for them to say, okay, well, we're going to release it in movie theaters and release it on HBO Max, it's directly going to affect those numbers. So they've got a slew of lawsuits that are going to end up coming their way because of that, because they're going to have actors that are going to come out like Gal Gadot with Wonder Woman. You know she's going to come after them because her contract clearly states
Yeah.
that she's supposed to make a certain amount of
Yeah.
money depending on how well it does in the box office. And if it's going to HBO Max and it's not like they're paying, they said it's not like they're paying extra to get it like Mulan with Disney did. They're paying the regular subscription service for HBO Max to get access to this movie. So it's directly going to affect their numbers. They're going to have to pay out Gal Gadot and all these other actors that have this stipulation in their contracts. They're going to lose money on this. I don't know who okayed this without going around and making sure all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted, but someone's getting fired here and they're going to be paying out their ass.
um, it's a lot of films though. Like I mean, the whole platform now. All of these are gonna go to these major. It's just gonna go to Disney Plus and Netflix. So we have to accept that, right? Because that's our gatekeepers now. But yeah, it sucks paying. I pay at least 35 a month for media services that are like Prime as well. Um, that's a lot. I mean, when you add that on to having to have a cable, not a cable bill, but a, internet bill, basically, that really starts to add up over time. And
Mm-hmm.
somehow getting the TV being gone doesn't matter because there's always another way to watch something, right? So
How do you
that's the
feel?
future.
How do you feel about Did you see The Mandalorian? Do you watch any of that stuff or no?
Oh yeah, yeah, of
Okay.
course I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I snuck it
so
in though. I'll,
so
I'll, I'll be honest. Nobody.
it's okay. It's nothing wrong with it. I get it. So like they have new technology now that they use screens and stuff like LED, like projectors or whatever it is that they're using to for the
Yes.
background or whatever, instead of shooting a lot of the stuff on site, and it looks amazing. You know what I mean? A lot of the new stuff. So they're able to put out stuff with less, I guess, actual scene building. Um,
Yeah.
and it's amazing, and I don't know if that necessarily saves them money because I'm sure the technology and rendering the 3D stuff that they're putting in there or whatever probably does cost a lot. But it just seems like now they can just spit out like movie quality home video now, just like we're doing here with this stuff. we're doing pretty well compared to like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we would couldn't think about doing a show like this, without it,
Boy.
having, being in like $1 million production. You know what I mean? Maybe not a million, but like several $1,000 production. So at the end of the day, it's like they're just profiting, man. It's like once they have like the keys to the house. Like these big companies, they're balling, man.
Yeah, I think
I'm
moving
happy for it,
forward, they'll
but
probably be able to save a lot of money with all this new
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
coming out.
yeah,
But they've already made these movies specifically that are coming out. They've already made these movies. They've used the on-site locations. They used the big
yeah,
production. They've
yeah.
spent the money on all the snack what you call it that they've had, and they put all out the money up for it. So they're gonna get their money one way or another.
They don't even. I don't think they barely use chroma keying now. They use the lighting of the actual projectors to make it look natural instead of doing color grading. I mean, I'm sure they still do color grading and everything with the people and everything to make it look like they're in the scene. But it's amazing what they could do now. They just buy the equipment that does the stuff, and they just keep using the equipment. And when the equipment dies, they just buy more equipment. It's not like they're actually, oh, I need you to go and render this like creature for the Mandalorian or whatever. I mean, they do some of that stuff, but in regards to like, you
They
understand
do.
what I'm
They
getting
go.
at.
I'm gonna say they go big. They go
They
big.
they
They
go
have both
big, but it's
a
not. I
lot of
think.
puppet stuff.
Yeah, I think to some degree, though, I mean, I'm not going to say that they're not spending money, but to some degree, it's cut a lot of cost. Because think about the man hours they had to do with chroma keying, because not every time the key will be perfect. So you'll see little areas that they had to like comp certain things out and fix certain things. It's crazy, man. Technology is amazing. Even the
I
stuff
mean,
that
look, I
we
agree
could
with
do.
you 100%. I was gonna say I agree with you 100% because I know my one of my roommates is a set builder, and the
Hmm.
other one that I know is in New Orleans, and she was doing set building as
Yeah.
well as like I don't know if you want to call it production assistant duties, but it's more of like building for the set. So it's a set PA.
Mhm.
Um, and she's been doing that, and then everything closed down, and then now she has to worry about. I mean, technology is going to wipe out some of this, but at the same time, maybe the technology is too high grade for some people, so it keeps it so that that's not the norm. I'm
Yeah.
hoping. I don't know. Like big studios are going to use this whenever they can.
Well, look at the
I
price
have
of
no question that a
equipment.
big studio will.
Look at how price of
Yeah,
equipment's dropping though. It's like, like because if they can't sell it, the price of equipment's drop, and they still they look at how many cameras come out each year. Look at how many lighting kits come out each year. You know what I mean? Like everything. There's only but so much. I think the only thing that's really not really changed much is grip equipment. You know what I mean? Like stands and like
yes,
things like that. Because you need that for
yeah.
holding things, and other than that, it's like the technology. You can get yourself a 4K camera that looks amazing. That's relatively cheap now. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. It's
Well, they
crazy.
said that movie, like the movie industry, had to find a way to make things cheaper, more affordable anyway, because it just would take one of these huge box office numbers to completely tank at the movie theaters. And now with
Mhm.
us having this pandemic, this is a real possibility of them completely tanking that would really take down the movie industry as we know it because of that. Think about all the money that goes into everything, craft services, all this stuff, that they end up
Mhm.
spending so much money on these big movies, not just the bloated paychecks of the actors and everybody else, but it's like, of course, this might be the perfect storm, 2020, this giant pandemic, the perfect storm to really pull in the reins of the movie industry and its wasteful nature.
Well, they're doubling down too, man. Look at
Yep.
it. Look at all the stuff that they're making now. They got the Mando stuff. They got the what is it? The Obi-Wan Kenobi movie coming out. They're bringing all these people in and trying to they're
It's
doubling down on it.
it's
They're
12
Yeah,
shows.
yeah, man.
because
It's
they know
12 shows,
people are
man.
home, they're not doing anything, we're in a point where we're just absorbing everything that comes out, which is why we had such a big reaction, I think, too, when the Black Lives Matter movement really gain speed and everything like that with protests, because everybody's home and they're getting everything is just coming in and we're absorbing everything. You will pay that $35 for your subscription service every month because you want to make sure that you're connected to everything that's coming in. It's just what's happening now to us in this time.
Do you think a Jeet Pi getting leaving soon? Because they said like when what's his face comes in, Biden comes in. You think some of these net neutrality rules are going to change?
No, no.
You think it's you
I
think
firmly believe that those net neutrality rules were the what even corporate Democrats wanted. Unfortunately, it does serve the people that they get money donated to, is to have as much strong DMCA kind of actions so that you can't the copyright things. They just want to have as much control as possible. So I believe that net neutrality is not even on the table with the
mm,
Biden administration. I think you might get the internet as a necessary service in 4 years, like at the very end of that. Um,
like a
that's my one
utility?
hope, because it is
Yeah,
is a utility
yeah,
that
yeah.
would significantly change the way that we work. It would make everything cheaper, because we also gave them a huge loan to put down all that fiber optic line.
Yep.
So like Comcast, all of those people are creating just massive profits off this.
Mm.
And I don't see that stopping right now. I see people starting to think about it, and like the fact is that you can't survive right now without the internet. Like
Yep.
you can survive, but you can't thrive without the internet.
No, I think you're more closer to can't survive. Think about all the kids that are home from school. How are they going to
Mm.
learn? There are kids there. They even had a story about one kid that has to go to school so that he can use the Wi-Fi at school because his house doesn't have the Wi-Fi. He doesn't have any Wi-Fi access, or his parents can't afford it, or something about where he lives that they can't get it. He literally sits outside of school, going and doing the online classes outside of his school. I mean, that it has to be put up as a utility as of right now with what we're going through. 100%.